Good morning and welcome to the Sharing Show. Today I'm joined with David, the Workday Sharing Guy. I have Logan and Denise joining us as well. And it is a spectacular day to have the Sharing Show one day before Halloween. I'm going to pass you now over to the rest of the team.
Can you tell me a little bit more about Zoom before we begin, Kane?
Absolutely. So as always, we're using Zoom for the show today. If you'd like to interact with any of us on the show, the attendees and the panelists as well, please go and use the chat feature. Make sure you select the all attendee, and then everyone will see that message and everyone can interact and share with you.
Okay, up first, we'll do our survey Kahoot. So please log in to kahoot.it on a browser, on your phone or another device.
Okay, so for those who are new to the Sharing Show, you could do this on your phone in the browser. Type kahoot.it. It's not kahoot.com, kahoot.it, or on a computer, any browser, kahoot.it.
All right, our pin for today is 368464. And this is our survey Kahoot. So the first few questions, there is not a right or wrong answer. And then the last question, there will be a right or wrong answer.
All right, the pin again is 368464.
Okay, here we go. Are you ready? There's 4 questions today.
Okay, your Workday Rising 2019 cities, if any. You're going to both, you went to Orlando and you're going to Milan. You went only to Orlando, that's blue. Yellow is you're heading to Milan, you were not in Orlando. And green is you're not making it to Rising this year. Who's going to both? Who didn't go to either? Well, about half went to Orlando. Next question, how many airings of the Sharing Show will you attend in the next 2 months? Not counting this one. Maybe 1, maybe 0. Blue would be 2. Yellow would be 3 or 4. Green is 5 or more if they're offered. Now, as the answers are coming in, you're going to see there's going to be more than 2 shows. So, okay, a lot of people said you would do 5 or more if they're offered. I'm glad you said that, because yellow is actually the opportunity. We'll have 4 more shows after this one before the end of the year. More about that soon. Your favorite of these holidays? Choose between these 4: Halloween, Thanksgiving, New Year's Day, or Valentine's Day. Sorry, we didn't give you much time on that. Looks like a close split here between Thanksgiving, Halloween, and New Year's Day. Thanksgiving is the winner. Okay, we have one more question, I believe, which is actually a quiz. What is Smartsheet? So there's one right answer here. It's the sharing team's dashboard technology. It's something new, but it's in Workday 33. It's something coming in Workday 2020 R2. This is Workday's new way of naming things, 2020 R1, 2020 R2. Or it's in Excel. It's coming in Excel next year. Okay, a lot of people got the answer right. Smartsheet is something we are using for dashboards. Okay, well, congrats to Chris M. Nice to see you, Chris M. Pretty quick on the finger there to get that going. Okay, so we will have an actual quiz Kahoot at the end.
Denise, what's next on the agenda?
Up next, we have David, the Workday Sharing Guy.
Okay, thank you, Denise. So this is David, the Sharing Guy, and I have a handshake agreement with my previous manager at Workday that I will make it very clear that I no longer work at Workday. The entire Sharing Show and Share-a-thons do not represent Workday in any way. this share-a-thons are not training. Share-a-thons are customers sharing with each other. So everybody is just representing themselves. Feel free to share, use the chat to share and ask. I highly recommend the Workday training. Now I've added on to my disclaimer, I'm officially now doing workshops, calculated field workshops. So I also highly recommend my calc field workshops, and more coming on that in the show.
And here we go to Monday, our pre-rising share-a-thon in Orlando. And I had the privilege of meeting, along with the rest of my team. Chris came to work with us and visit from Minneapolis. We had the famous photographer Lynn, who you might recall won the I Love Workday photo contest. And here we have sharing fans who joined us from Virginia. And last but not least, we have Mike, who came to see us from Philly. You might remember Mike. He gave us one of our very first guest appearances on the Sharing Show with boomerangs.
Well, Logan, that's great that you were able to make it to Orlando. And it looks like in one of the pictures you got distracted and blinked.
Well, it's awful that Lynn, the most famous photographer ever, is the one I closed my eyes in the picture.
I'm sure Lynn's okay with it.
Thanks, David. Denise, what do we have next on the agenda?
Up next, we have Jen from Tennessee with using questionnaires in business processes.
Good morning. I wanted to share how we're beginning to use a questionnaire in the offer BP to determine future telecommuter status. The background for us is that telecommuter status is indicated by a worker subtype of telecommuter. The other subtypes that we use are regular and intern. Many downstream systems and security access decisions are driven by whether somebody is in the telecommuter status. So the current state for us, most job requisitions are created for the worker subtype regular. That means when a telecommuter is selected for a job that's indicated as regular, they're pretty much automatically taken out of the telecommuter status, which can jeopardize their systems access, their internet stipend, their office provisioning, and it also creates a whole lot of back-end cleanup. So our future state, we're adding a one-question questionnaire to the offer BP, which asks the manager if the employee will remain a telecommuter in their new role. If the answer to the question is yes, and if it's a single position job requisition, a to-do step is generated for the recruiter to update the job requisition to be telecommuter rather than regular. This update has to be made before the recruiter moves the employee forward from offer, and then the change job event retains their telecommuter status with no interruption. If the answer is yes and it happens to be a multi-position job requisition, we hire classes of people, then a different to-do step is generated for the recruiter, which triggers them to send an email to our HR service unit that can take care of keeping the telecommuter status in the change job event when it comes along. If the answer to the question is no, the employee is converted to regular with the change job event, and notifications are sent to downstream parties who need to know the telecommuter status is being removed and the workers returning to the office. So just a few screenshots. The first one is what the questionnaire looks like. This is, of course, the preview for it, but it's just a single question, yes or no answer. The second snip is from the offer business process, showing where these steps have been added. The questionnaire goes to the manager, and then the two different to-do steps based on different conditions. The first one on this page is the condition rule for whether the internal candidate is a current telecommuter. The second screenshot is the condition rule for if the job rec is a single position job requisition. The first one on this page is if it's a multi-position job requisition. And the last one is the condition rule that extracts the answer from the questionnaire of whether or not the employee will remain a telecommuter in their new role. So obviously there's some calc fields, and there are some new notifications that we've put together to make this process work and sending messages to downstream systems. And I will be able to share all of those to you on the Sharing Show dashboard, apparently.
Jen, thank you, Jen. I did see somebody inside Zoom raise their hand, and then I've seen a couple people with chat messages. So let me just ask you, Jen, at the end, we often have open mic. Are you available to go beyond the half hour?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so feel free to look in the chat also and use the chat for Q&A, but you'll have the opportunity to use audio after the show officially ends.
Okay, that sounds great, David. Thank you.
Thank you, Jen.
Thanks so much for sharing, Jen. Denise, what's
You're
next
welcome.
on the agenda?
Yes, up next, David, we have a surprise photo bomb with our friend Bharat from New Jersey.
Okay, so let's just check. Bart, are you on audio?
Yes, I am, David.
Okay, you want to tell a little story about how we ran into each other?
Definitely. Hello, everyone, and I hope you guys are having a good time. And this is awesome Sherathon. You're gonna love it. So what you're looking at the picture is a lot of nostalgic happening. So I am in that light white shirt, second from the right. And I am working with one of my friend who was the one who introduced me to Workday World. His name is Thor. He's on the left side. So he was my first who introduced me to Workday World. And we were walking on the floor, the rising, and somebody tapped on the back. We turned around and we happened to bump into this gentleman who was my first instructor in Workday integrations, David.
That's
So,
no gentleman. How many years ago was that?
that was 2010. So it's almost 9 years, almost 10 years.
Okay. All right. So
Yep.
there's a little bit more to the story.
And what happened there is I happened to bump into the legend in Workday community. You see that guy who is photobombing? He's
Yeah,
Floyd.
don't actually say his name because it might come up later in the show. But yeah, it's so
Okay.
funny that he saw us and came up behind and photobombed us.
That was awesome.
That was great. Now, I don't think so. After you took the initial integration training 9 years ago or something, I left Workday 6 years ago. I don't think I've seen you except right there at Rising, a couple of weeks ago. It's like fantastic for me. Sometimes at Rising, I see people I haven't seen for 6 years, and then in your case, maybe actually 9 years after you took the training.
And I was so happy that you still remembered me.
That's awesome. It's great running into you and Thor. So thank you for sharing. Nice photo. Okay, while you've got the talking stick, what was your favorite part of Rising?
This year, my favorite part of Rising was again in a very nostalgic area because not only you guys that I met after so many years, I met few other folks who helped me become get into this Workday world and mentor me and all that. A few more people, and another thing that I sticks out for me is again it was one of the breakout session related to RPA and how Workday technology is using all these new technologies of RPAs and bots and AI and all that, machine learning. So I think that's where the industry is heading, and Workday is right there helping us.
Nice. All right. Thank you for sharing.
Thanks so much for sharing. Great memories and great photos. Denise, what do we have next on the agenda?
Up next, we're going to talk about our sharing dashboards.
All right. So here we have the calculated field dashboard that we put together for a calculated field share-a-thon that was it was a few weeks before Rising. So a little bit over a month ago, I think. We had over 700 people register for that share-a-thon. So in 2 hours, we crammed in as much as we could, but we collected a lot of shares and asks, and we realized the best thing to do is create a dashboard for anyone, all sharing fans. You can access this dashboard. We will put into the chat or perhaps email you later the way in which you get access to the dashboard. But shares and asks allow you, you could upload files, and you specify on your calc field in particular what is the functional areas, is benefits related, payroll related, financials related, and then also the function type. And then we put this together in one dashboard for you. So dashboards is a way for us to be sharing with each other actual content. In the past couple months, we've actually had 4 different share-a-thons, and we are now collecting the materials onto a dashboard, or let's say onto dashboards, right? So this is the main dashboard. This is the dashboard of dashboards. So the calc field dashboard was on the far upper left. This is the open enrollment share-a-thon dashboard that we had an open enrollment share-a-thon a few weeks ago. This is the recruiting share-a-thon dashboard. We just had a recruiting share-a-thon just last week. And before Workday 33 release was official, we had a Workday 33 dashboard. We didn't actually have a share-a-thon event, we just had the dashboard up. And it focused on the what's new report. What I'll also show you here on this dashboard is we will put past share-a-thons on the far left. We have a suggestion box for people to make suggestions for future share-a-thons. Perhaps you would like to suggest a business process share-a-thon, or maybe an advanced compensation share-a-thon. Go ahead and make suggestions, and some background and history on share-a-thons. And then on the bottom in red squares, you see the upcoming dates. I mentioned I would bring that back to you. The dates of the sharing show. So we're actually going to have a sharing show a week from today. So we're not doing monthly anymore, especially the last Wednesday in both November and December would be holiday time for people. So a week from today, we're going to have the sharing show, and it's going to be focused on calc fields and reporting. And that's November 6th. So we'll see everybody a week from today. And then we're going every 2 weeks until the end of the year. So you see November 6th, the 20th, December 4th, and 18th. One more dashboard to show you is that since we have all these sharing shows on YouTube, we can actually have a dashboard specific for a topic. For example, we have a dashboard for the sharing show brainstorms. You'll see here we had people discussing brainstorms in episode 1, 3, 4, 5, 8, 12, 13, and 15, and the list will grow. So as the list grows, we just put this together. We're going to put the brainstorms here, the day that was open, the number of votes, the functional area, and the title, and then the link to it, of course, so you could vote on it. On the right, though, you see videos, and on any one of those, you could click it and actually watch the video from within the dashboard. And you'd hear Floyd, for example, in episode 1, talking about a brainstorm. Or you could click that icon that I'm pointing to there. That is to maximize the whole screen. And then you would come back here and you could play every one of them if you'd like. So this is now a dashboard of the sharing show based on topics.
That's great, David. Thanks so much. Denise, what's next on the agenda?
Up next, we're going to talk with David briefly about our calc field workshops.
Well, hello, everyone. This is David again. So we are right now in the middle of a beginner calc field workshop. You see the dates there. There's 2 dates for each one. Green X, beginner, and then next week we have the dates shown here for the advanced calc field workshop, followed again by beginner, and then the week of November the 20th and the 22nd, intermediate. And then we do again in December, beginner, intermediate, and then advanced. So these are all something that I've put together based on how people are learning in share-a-thons during the sharing show. And I like this idea of doing workshops. You have one session, there's an in-between where you do activities, we work over email, come back to the next one. So more on this, you'll find me online now as davidthesharingguy.com.
Thanks, David. What do we have next on the agenda?
Up next, we have David from Detroit with his photo from the share-a-thon.
Hi.
Hey, David.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you. Here we
Oh.
are at Rising, huh?
There we are at Rising. Yeah. So did you just want me to talk a little bit about the photo and how fun share-a-thons were and how great Rising was?
Absolutely.
Okay, perfect. So in this picture, you'll see that there are 3 Davids. You can probably figure out which one I am because I am from the Detroit area where it's nice and brisk. And we were in Orlando at Rising where it is not nice and brisk. So I'm the one, if you're looking at the photo on the very left, holding a lovely Apple Watch that I won by having a trigger finger during Kahoots and getting correct answers. And then there's a David in the middle. And then, of course, we have David, the sharing guy, on the right-hand side of all of us. So don't mind my crazy humid hair, but it was a long and humid day. And we were at Rising. I think this was during the customer reception. So it was a really long day, but it was a ton of fun.
Yeah, David, we've seen you on the podium a few times. So something about that trigger finger. You got one, at the end of every show, we'll do a quiz Kahoot. And what is that David in the middle is handing you?
That David in the middle is handing me a new Apple iWatch. I think it's the Watch 5 series, which I ended up gifting to my boyfriend because I'm not an Apple user, but he was thrilled to get it, and I was thrilled to give it to him as well from having my trigger finger on the Kahoots, which was a huge surprise. We had no idea that that was happening and that was going on. So it was a super nice, fun way to kind of end the customer reception and to be engaged with the sharing show and with all of the other sharing contributors.
David, that's a great story. You're giving me a big smile on this side. So here we are at the Humanity booth. The orange buttons, you see David on the far left with an orange button on his shirt. It's actually a Share Humanity. Humanity sponsored the buttons. And I'm holding a laptop that's open to show the podium. And I don't know if anybody noticed, but on the keynote, there's one of the pictures that Anil or somebody else from the Workday team was showing on the keynote. And in the background, you could see that Kahoot podium thing. So Kahoot's becoming more popular in the Workday world, especially making it into the Rising keynote. Logan, together you and I, we could thank Humanity for being co-sponsors of the sharing show. So you could visit Humanity at humanity.com/workday, and they focus on employee scheduling for Workday customers.
And what do we have next on the agenda?
Up next, we're going to talk briefly about the Movember team and our Workday stock challenge to maybe win another Apple Watch.
Okay, we've got lots of Apple Watches floating around. I'm going to be very quick. In the past, you've seen me do mustache stuff here on the sharing show, all building up to this moment. So in 2 days starts Movember. I am captain of the Workday Alumni, Customer, and Friends team. I walked around Rising and got several Workday customers to join. Doesn't cost anything to join other than give your email. You help raise awareness. You don't have to do fundraising if you don't want, just by joining the team. Last year we had 31, 16 women, 15 men. I aim to have over 100. I encourage everybody to join the team. More women than men is my goal. The first goal is to get over 100 on the team. You'll see a picture there that's after train played at one of the Workday parties. Right there on the phone, got people joining the Movember team. Now, if you join the team, you'll get to guess 5 different dates on when Workday will return to $200 and a penny. On previous airings of the sharing show, you'll see the dotted line is at approximately 200. And Workday hit 200, but not 200 and a penny. So we had a challenge, and within 2 days, a good friend of ours, Charlie, won that challenge, but then it went below and above and below and above 200 several times. So many people won. We did this at Rising itself, not knowing that the challenge was going to have to go beyond December. During Rising, Workday had a little bit of a misunderstanding. Analysts just don't seem to understand how powerful the sharing movement is. And so once analysts figure out what's going on here, we're looking at Workday hitting 200 and a penny. We'll see when that is. You'll get an Apple Watch if you guess the date. If many people guess the date, then you're going to be on Kahoots. So join Movember, sign up to Movember first, then you will find Workday alumni, customers and friends team, and within one click, you join the team. Then send us 5 guesses of dates.
I just wanted to remind everybody, if you're guessing dates, we are going through the end of June on our dates for when that's going to hit 201. So you can send those to me and I will get you signed up for that. So
a lot of people guessed their birthday, I know, since we extended it. I'm the first to guess Anil's birthday.
And just make sure your guesses are days that we're actually trading, because there are some holidays in there too. So now we're going to see who's going to make the podium. And then after our podium, we have one more guest.
All right, we'll have a new pin number.
So this is our quiz Kahoot. So these do have right and wrong answers.
All right, Kane, when we get this Kahoot going.
You may have to refresh your browser to put in a new pin. So
Wow.
our pin for this is 1859.
Wow, a 4-digit pin, first time, huh?
Yeah.
1859. Everyone who makes a podium gets a t-shirt, the Sharon Show t-shirt that says "I made the podium" on the back. You saw Logan.
Yeah, you may have noticed that Logan was wearing one of those in the pictures.
That's right.
Okay, there's 4 questions.
Who is photobombing in this picture? Is it Anil? Is it Floyd? Is it Adam Garoni? Is it Tony Stark? A lot of people got that right. Adam Garoni is one of the co-founders of Movember. Tony Stark didn't make it. Okay, Gretch, you're ahead by 3 points over Dan H. There's 5 points over both Anna and Anthony. Only 2 points ahead of Michael E. Next question. After joining the Movember team, you will get to do what? You will get an Apple Watch Series 5. You will get 1 guess at the Workday 200 and a penny date challenge. You get 5 guesses at the Workday $200 and a penny date challenge, or you get dinner with a David. I don't know who the David is. All right, a lot of people picked that up. You would get to guess 5 dates. Thank you in advance for joining the team. Dan H, you jumped ahead, 17 points ahead of Tina R. Chris M, you're back up into the top 5, 3 points behind Tina R. John S and Gretch, close. Materials from the Sharing Show can be found on a custom report, a calculated field, a business process, a smart sheet dashboard. Now, as we're waiting for the answers to come in, we are still setting up these dashboards, but we'll get everyone access before the next show, hopefully in 1 week. Okay, everyone's got that one. All right, so now it's a question of how fast it is. Tina R, you're the fastest so far. Dan H, Chris M, Gretchen, Anthony, all within 40 points of each other. I think we got the final question. Here we go. Which of the following is not likely a worker subtype? Intern, telecommuter, regular, pumpkin. All right, some people are probably pretty fast on that. We couldn't think of a good answer to trick people. I'm pretty sure that people know not, right? Yeah, oops, okay. Which is not likely a worker subtype is a pumpkin. Okay, who made the podium? All right, congrats, Dan H, for winning. A fair amount of distance between you and Gretch in second place, and then Anthony, you're third place. Only 1 point behind Gretch. Okay, congrats, everybody. All right, the Sharing Show continues.
And what's next on the agenda?
Well, up next, we're going to have our friend Michelle from Philadelphia with report bursting.
Okay, Michelle, before you start, I just want to point out somebody posted this on the secret waterfall page on community. So go to community, you search for waterfall, you'll see pictures. But this is somebody who gave this picture, Michelle said, this is the essence of share-a-thons. So I just absolutely love this picture.
Thanks, David. So I use report bursting to create multiple versions of a report. This eliminates the need for me to run individually. For example, if I'm sending reports to several cost center managers, I don't have to run for each cost center and then email it to them. I'm able to set up a report group, and they automatically, all the cost center managers get the same report with their data. So the first step is you want to create your report. And then I highlighted the advanced tab, because here you want to make sure you want to enable save parameters. You need this for the report group, which we're going to come to later. And then you want to be able to save a filter for your report. And again, this is what you need for the report group. Here I talk about when I burst, I usually use a calculated field. I pick some of the cost center managers I want to burst to. You don't have to do that, but I wanted to include it to let you all know if you wanted to use calculated fields, you can right there. This is the prompt or the task to create the report group. And obviously you give it a name. And for the essence of time, I am running through this. So if you have any questions, you're feel free to ask me. There's several tabs in a report group. The first tab is the prompts, and I usually do it by company and cost center. Again, it's going to vary for what your need is.
And Michelle, know that like this will go up on YouTube, and people could press pause and fast forward or go back through it, right? But right after, when you're done, we have open mic, right? Okay. So you can look at the chats, and then people could ask you questions. Okay.
So this is where you're going to pull in the report you want to burst to. It's going to pull up that filter that you saved on your report. You pick your output type. It can be Excel or PDF. I'm in finance, so obviously I'm always doing Excel. And you can give it another name. If you don't want to give it a name for what you named the report, you're welcome to change it here. And just one little note I like to tell everyone is when you're in this report group, when you're looking for your report, if it's not there, you most likely didn't enable that save parameter. So only the reports that you enabled that save parameter on, you're going to be allowed to burst to. So just saving you some time in case you're pulling your hair out why it's not working. And then at the bottom of this page is report prompts. And as I said, my example is for cost center, and the default is the report group prompt. You want to change that to bursting set. And then another thing just to highlight, if you forget this, it's not going to work. So for bursting by how I'm bursting. So just a little reminder. This is the share output. And to me, this is another reminder where you can forget. You need to enable who you want to share it to. You can do it by user. You can do it by security group. And again, in my case, I'm doing it by cost center manager. And you always have to remember that box at the bottom there. It says, I agree to the statement above. You make sure you check that. This is the share the report group. This is if you want to share this report group. It has nothing to do with the report. It's just this group you're creating. You don't have to share it, but if you want someone to be able to edit it, you want to share it at a later date, you can do that. Since we created the report and now we have the report group, you want to schedule it. So the only way you can burst is through the scheduler. So it's just the same as you're scheduling a report. And I have the default is right here is run once in the future, but you can do it as much as you want. You schedule the report for the date. And then on the output slide, I do not output to the empty group. So if someone has no data for this report, they're not going to get it. That's just my preference, but you're welcome to uncheck that. Then on the last tab is the share, and this one's very important. You want to make sure you share report output with users in the report group. Otherwise, cost center managers, they won't get it. So then if you when you go to your process monitor, you can see, and in this case, for this report, there were only 6 cost centers that got the report, but it each went, to the one cost center manager. It went right to their Workday mailbox. And then this is what the report looked like. It's just, in Excel with a list of it, with a list of the expenses. So I have examples. I do financial reports for each company, financial reports for cost center manager. And there's also a feature to maintain Excel template. So if you want to add an instruction tab or format, the data you're pulling from Workday, you can do that too. You just have to go back and you have to check the box, use Excel template, and go back to your report group, maintain the Excel template, and you attach it. And then that attachment will be in, as you see in the screen, this is just an instruction tab I have for the user. And they get that with their data from Workday on a separate tab. That's it.
Okay, that was awesome, Michelle. I see a lot of people stayed on for this. So Kane, right before going to the open mic, do you want to wrap us up?
Thanks, David, and thanks, Michelle. That was a lot to go through, and I really enjoyed the share on that. Great show, spooky show as well. So we will be back next week, as David mentioned, on the 6th of November. We will also post all of these videos, as always, on our YouTube channel. And of course, they're going through to the Smart Dashboard as well. So we'll now move to the open mic, but first we'll just close out the show and then we'll come right back to the open mic. So hopefully everybody have a great work day. We're back.
Okay, yeah, welcome back to the open mic. So those who have